Hey everyone, Jordan Clemens from Advancing Guitar at advancingguitar.blogspot.com. Today we are talking about using open strings. I went ahead and started us off with one of my favorite jazz standards called, what is it called? In the Days of Wine and Roses, just to give a very musical example of some mechanical type exercises we're going to try, because it's not really enough to keep them as just exercises. The whole point is to use them musically. So I wanted you to hear them in action first, and now we'll talk about what they are. This video goes along with a lesson on my blog at Advancing Guitar, so please do take the time to go check it out, because it's going to give you the fingerings of all the specifics that I'm playing. But the whole idea with this is using open strings in a non-traditional sense, not like playing open chords or playing the open position of the C major scale. We're using open strings to create a sense of sustain, similar to if a piano player stepped on his sustain pedal and played a sequence of notes, you'd hear all of them continuing throughout the whole line. So that's what we want to do. Now, we can do this, we can use open strings to accentuate scales, which is what we're going to talk about today and how I just used them, melodies, which we will talk about in the future, and harmony, which we will also talk about in the future. But today we're just going to talk about scales, and there's basically two rules here that we want to follow. One is, if you can use an open string, use it, and the other is, when you can't use an open string and you need fretted notes, try not to play more than 1, 2, 3, however many consecutive notes on the same string. What I mean by that is, if we're taking the second position from the cage system of C major, and we start on the highest note coming down, we immediately play A on the 5th fret and G on the 3rd fret. Both of those are on the 1st string, so we would want to avoid that. And then when we get to the 2nd string, we're doing F, E, D. All of those are on the 2nd string, so those are consecutive notes on the same string. We want to avoid this. There's nothing innately wrong with it. I do it all the time, and all guitar players do, but it does prevent the sustain that we're looking for, because it cuts each of our notes off. So we're going to take that same scale position, the 2nd position from the C major cage system, and we're going to start it on the G note, the 3rd fret, and I'm going to play it just like it is in the lesson on my blog, so please do check that out. There's a link for it below this video. I'm going to start on the high G note and come all the way down to the 3rd fret on the 5th string, the C note. This is just normal. Pretty basic. Here it is, following these two rules, using open strings and trying to not play 2 consecutive notes on the same string. I went a little bit past the C note. I went all the way down to the bottom note of this cage position, which is the G note. One more time, just to the C note so you can hear it. Okay? Much more beautiful than... There's nothing wrong with playing it that way. We're just missing a lot of textures. When we have multiple notes ringing out, we have all sorts of overtones and harmonics from the harmonic series that are just sort of bouncing off each other and creating just really beautiful, very three-dimensional sounds. The example that I used in Days of Wine and Roses would have been an F major. Not every key is as simple as C major, because C major is the only major scale that has all the natural notes, and all of our open strings are natural notes. So as soon as we venture away from C major, we're going to have a slightly harder time doing this, but it's still possible. I think in the example I played, I think I did it 2 different times. One time I think I started on the 5th fret A note, and one time I started on the 1st fret F note. Let's see if I can do this again. This would be F major. Oh, excuse me. Again, much prettier than just playing. One thing I do want to point out, very often when I play things like this, where I'm doing lots of big stretches, very often my students kind of rail on me and just assume that I have really large hands, which is what allows me to play this way, but I really don't. My hands are not very big. If you notice when I play this way, it's kind of hard to see, but my whole elbow tucks in, and this shoulder drops a little bit, and it kind of, my whole wrist comes out, everything shifts in my body. If you ever watch me play live, you'll see my whole body change when I try and play a chord or a scale this way. Just so you're aware, anybody can do this. My hands are not any bigger than the average hand. The other way I played it in Days of Wine and Roses was starting on the F note. A lot of this material is posted on the lesson at the blog. There's a link for it below the video, so please check it out. Not everything is. The F major scale isn't, only C major. But I encourage you to spend some time and try and find, maybe pick 1 or 2 keys that you use a lot in the songs that you play, and try and figure out a way to use this technique to play those scales. And then once you can do it, I encourage you to take the next step and actually try and play music with it, so you're not just practicing a scale. Please post what you find under the comments on this blog post, or if you have questions or problems, let us know, and we will talk you through it. Happy practicing to everybody, and I hope it goes smoothly. And again, please post comments and let us know what you find.